Well, happy Friday, everybody. I have some great news today. Late last night, the governor candidate, Michael Marty, again, that's Michael Marty, another Republican that has stepped into the race for the 2022 gubernatorial race, he has signed the Never Again Pledge. And that is essentially pledging that he will make the Never Again bill, my Never Again bill, the number one priority if he is elected governor. Now, 2 out of the 3 Republicans that are running for governor that have announced so far have signed that pledge. This is great news. It goes to show that this is the bill that has the teeth. This is what the people across the state need in order to prevent this abuse of power from ever happening again. So I need to thank Michael Marty, and please send him a note, and thank you for being so courageous to do so, because as I've been talking about for a long time now, there is such an incredible lack of courage in St. Paul. I mean, it is. I wish I could sit here and just talk about how, the Democrats are trying to destroy our country, but how the Republicans are united and we are a trustworthy opposition party to the Democrats. But so many of the Republicans in St. Paul, they're just weak. And it's honestly, it's sad, it's disturbing. I wish it wasn't true, but one of the things that I've been telling you guys forever is I'm going to continuously pull back the curtain and show you what actually happens in the Capitol. Because these Republicans, they're just so well known. Well, I take that back. This is not well known. If you're paying really, really close attention, you see it. But to the casual observer, you don't see it. Because they don't want you to see it. So here's what typically happens is these really sad and then very weak Republicans are in St. Paul, and they vote terribly, probably 2/3 of the time. They vote like Democrats. But then they come back to you, they come back to their district, and they say, oh, look at me, I'm doing these great things. They make themselves appear to be some sort of champion of the Constitution, or champion for liberty, or champion for conservatism. But you have to know what's actually happening in the Capitol. And if you've been following me for any time at all, you know that's exactly what I've been doing. But as you might expect, that's not a very popular thing in St. Paul. When I expose with video proof that these people are frauds, that they're stabbing you in the back, they don't seem to appreciate it. And I'm certainly not surprised by that. But what I wanted to talk about today was that they are even weaker than I even thought. Because what they end up doing is they're uncomfortable because they're being exposed for their bad behavior in the Capitol. And instead of just coming to me like a grown-up and saying, hey, I don't like what you're doing and I want you to stop, and we can hash it out, what they do, and this has happened like 3 or 4 times now, so I'm finally just going to tell you guys about it. What they do is they go to somebody else. They go to somebody else and they ask that person, will you go talk to Representative Mortensen for me because I don't like what he's doing? And then other people approach me. It's like a room full of 3rd graders that just do not have the backbone to confront somebody that they're upset with. That is what we're dealing with in St. Paul. So please, when they come back to you and your district and they claim they're some sort of a champion for anything other than being Democrat-light Republicans, you have to call them out. And so that's what I feel like my job is to make sure you are empowered with the knowledge that you need to hold people accountable for their actions. I mean, literally, these people, these weak Republicans in St. Paul, which is the vast majority of them, just to make sure you know, they are literally begging me to stop fighting so hard and to stop being so transparent with what they actually do in the Capitol, because it makes them look bad. And I don't know why they would think I would stop, because it's their own actions, right? I mean, they're taking the actions, they're making themselves look bad. All I'm doing is shining a spotlight on it and saying, you see that? That's them behaving in the opposite way in which they campaigned on. But then, of course, they get mad at me, and then they're dying for me to stop. They want me to stop this, exactly what I'm doing right now, so bad, because it makes them look bad. But what they have to ultimately decide is, are they going to do what the people in their district want them to do, Because that's where I'm standing. I'm standing with the conservatives across the state that are sick and tired of weak Republicans continuously disappointed. Are they going to stand with the people that vote for them, or are they going to stand with party bosses? Because that is what it ultimately boils down to, is that they are so scared of what their party bosses might do to them if they disobey them that they just cave into leadership. And I wish there was more to it than that, but that is literally what it boils down to, is they're more scared of upsetting and they're afraid of the political blowback from disobeying the orders of their party bosses than they are of you, the people that voted for them. And I keep asking, why? I mean, what is it? I mean, I don't understand. Why do they care what their party bosses are telling them? Their party bosses are telling them horrible advice. And the answer I've gotten repeatedly is, well, they don't want to deal with party leadership. So in other words, they would rather disappoint you, the people of Minnesota. And let's be honest, all of the power, all of the political power truly resides with we the people, with you guys. You guys have all the power. You get to make the decisions. You just have to ask yourself, are you going to hold these people accountable or let them weasel their way out of being held accountable? Because as soon as you can become the party or the entity that they don't want to deal with, then they're going to start listening to you. But so long as they're more intimidated by party bosses than they are by you, they're going to keep looking to appease their party leaders well before they look to appease the people that voted for them. And that is the unfortunate but honest truth. So please do not allow them to continue to trick you into thinking that there's some sort of champion and some sort of principled person at the Capitol when they're just not. And I know this is uncomfortable. It makes people a little queasy, but I can't even start complaining about the Democrats as long as we have Republicans in the way of the conservative movement. And that is the reality in Minnesota right now. So frankly, this is what draining the swamp looks like. Because before you can drain the swamp, you have to identify who is in the swamp. So let me be perfectly clear and tell you who exactly is part of the Republican St. Paul swamp that I have on video refusing to support a roll call vote on the Never Again bill. A great piece of legislation that, as I kick this off, 2/3 of the Republican candidates for governor agree it's the most important legislation. It'll be their first bill they sign when they become governor. But these 11 Republicans refuse to just give a simple hand in the air to allow a roll call vote. This is Representative Spencer Igo, Dwayne Quam, Patty Mueller, Barb Haley, Jim Nash, the guy that's supposed to be the tough guy conservative. Jim Nash couldn't raise his hand. Bjorn Olson, Glenn Gruenhagen, another guy that's supposed to be this champion for the people, but here he is betraying them. John Koznick, Josh Heintzman, who's never been a champion for the people. Let me be very clear about that. And of course, the swamp bosses, Kurt Dowd and Ann New Brindley. And those are the two people that the other 9 look to as their real boss. Believe me, they don't look to you as their boss at all. It is Kurt Dowd and Ann New Brindley. That's who they report to. That's who they want to make happy, because that is who will deal political blowback to them if they dare to disobey the orders of their party bosses. Please help me hold these people accountable, because as I've been saying and closing a lot of my videos with, if you want to be politically heard, if you want to be politically respected, you must be politically feared. Thanks, guys.